Hello everyone, Rurikhan here coming at you with another first impressions video, and today we're going to be taking a look at Tearaway by Media Molecule. So Tearaway is a title for the PlayStation Vita. You guys have already seen some preview gameplay on my channel before, and today we're going to be actually doing my first impressions with a little bit more of detail as well as my opinions on the title. As per usual, since this is a Vita title, the video is going to be post-commentary because it is extremely hard to capture Vita footage, and it is especially the case for Tearaway. And the reason for that is because I actually have like a stand to capture Vita on, but the problem is it blocks the back touch. And Tearaway makes use of both the back touch, the front touch, the cameras in the front, the cameras in the back. There is just so much to this title and so many uses of the PlayStation Vita features that the only way to actually do it would be to capture it through my camera, since I don't actually own anything that can capture off of a Vita. Also, you have to apologize due to the fact that there's going to be some reflection on screen. This is because, like, look, I can either get no reflection and the image quality is not going to be as good, or better image quality with some reflection. I actually spent a lot of time like prepping up the setup to record this, and I'm still not pleased with the results, which is why I'm kind of mentioning it. I really hope that in the future I can come up with some kind of a solution to record titles for the PlayStation Vita, but at the moment it is still not possible. But let's get into the game. So for starters, obviously, in terms of graphics, this particular video is not going to do the game justice. The graphics of the game are excellent. They're very, very sharp, and the animation is also very, very nice, even though despite the fact I'm not really big onto the whole stop motion animation thing, but I think they've done an exceptional work due to the nature of the art style of the game, with the paper crafting and all the paper kind of inspired materials and all this stuff that's in the world. I think that the animation is exceptionally well done, and it is very, very, very immersive. So in its essence, the game is a platformer. I mean, but to call this game just a platformer is, I don't even know what to say. It's almost like a lie, because there's so much more to it, from the customization to all the stuff that you can do inside the game world. Like, you can customize your character, you can take pictures of stuff, and that will link you to a website, which we'll go into a little bit more detail further on. The jumping, the touching of the front pad, the back pad, the actual Vita cameras, and not just the in-game camera. There's just so much here that, sure, the mechanics of it's going to seem like, okay, it's a platformer. That's what mechanically a lot of people are going to assume. But if I had to actually classify it, I would call it more as an exercise in creativity. And I know that it's kind of like a little bit of a grandiose kind of thing, but it is in fact, there's a lot of creativity behind this title. I mean, this is made by Media Molecule, who are the same people who brought you Little Big Planet, which is also an extremely creative title. As a matter of fact, I think in terms of PlayStation, it is probably the title that has the most community design levels, so to speak. At least I don't think I've heard of any other title that has had that much success. But yeah, that is the reason why it makes it so hard to classify Tearaway. As a matter of fact, it is the reason why it made it so hard for me to actually make this video, because I kept thinking, should I do a montage? Should I show all these interesting and cool mechanics that the game presents to you? But the thing is, doing that is actually slightly spoiling the game. So I'm focusing more on showcasing you guys a level, just a level, and that is what you guys are watching right now in the background. And this should give you a good idea of what to expect from the game. And in the meantime, I want to tell you guys what else you can get from the game without actually showing it to you. And it's kind of I realize you guys are like, but it's video, just show it to us. Yeah, but showing it to you is going to spoil a lot of stuff for the game, because something that I've noticed is that every time as I was playing Tearaway, every time the game would present this new mechanic to me, I'd be like, that's interesting, that's kind of cool. And then it just kind of, you just start going through that mechanic. It gets repeated a couple of times, of course, but it's not like they're constantly just smash this one idea. It's not like they've grabbed this one idea and just ran with it and copy paste it all over the game. No, it's like, okay, so here's like, for instance, here's this idea about these platforms that you're going to swipe across and platforms are going to form. You're going to form ramps, and then from ramps you're going to swipe across, and it's going to form bridges and stuff like that. And you guys are like, oh my god, but touch controls are terrible, and it's not going to work, and it's going to be so atrocious. And by the gameplay that you're watching, it's natural that you assume that. But the thing is, you guys got to keep in mind, as I was playing this title, I was constantly focusing myself more on like, okay, I need to position my Vita slightly upwards. I need to tilt it this direction. I need to do this, that, and the other because of video quality, as opposed to just being focused on actually playing the game. Because when you're actually focused on playing the game, it is actually when you're actually just focusing on what you're doing, the game just flows. And that's the best way that I can put it, because you're going through all these notions of touching this and swiping that and moving your character at the same time and touching on the back touchpad so that you can make your character bounce and put your finger through the touchpad and interact with the world. All that stuff is actually seamlessly integrated. Like, if we look at a previous title who tried doing something like this, I would say it was probably, I think it was like at launch. I think that game was out at launch. If it wasn't at launch, it was shortly after the launch, which was Uncharted Golden Abyss. So Uncharted Golden Abyss tried putting everything the Vita had to use, as a lot of you guys have noticed by now. Like, it had the swiping, it had the back touch, it had everything. But it wasn't seamlessly integrated. It was forced in. At least this is my personal opinion after having played that title. It was forced in, particularly on the boss fights. The swiping motions during the boss fights, don't even get me started on that. It was terrible. But when you get to a title like Tearaway and you see all of these things getting sent into the game, it is only natural that people are going to assume, oh my god, they're doing the whole touch control system and backpad and all these other things on the Vita that we really don't care for. And the thing is, this game actually does it well. Like, I like how the frontal camera is used so that your character, I mean like a picture of you actually shows up in the sun. Because the whole point of the game, as they kind of start off the story, they don't really give you a lot of details about the story of the game as they're actually creating the story, so to speak. But the whole point at the start of the title is there's a message, and this message becomes your character. It's like an envelope with legs and arms and stuff, and that's a message. And the purpose is to get that message over to you, the person playing the game. So that is why your face shows up in the sun. That message wants to get to the sun to deliver you whatever the message contains. So I'm going to assume, I haven't really finished the title yet, I'm going to assume that at some point when you finish the title, you're going to get to read whatever the message was. But it's definitely an interesting concept, and it's interesting that as you go through the first couple of levels, they constantly show yourself on screen because they're using the frontal Vita camera, and they show you as being the sun, and they show your little character that you're controlling throughout the world as trying to get to you to deliver the message. And like I said, it is definitely an interesting premise, and I like the usage of the Vita camera, which is actually something that you don't really see that often. But it's cool. Like I said, it uses everything the Vita has. It also uses the back camera. Like, for instance, I remember I was at some point in a level where there was this moose, and he was like, oh my god, these things stole my color. So there's this mechanic in game, right, where whenever you get to certain places in a level, you might see an object that is just plain white, and it's going to basically it's going to draw attention on itself because it's going to look so out of place in the middle of this really colorful world, because the world is ridiculously colorful. I mean, just think of a world that's made. I mean, look at the footage on the background. Why am I doing think of the world? But look at the footage on the background. All that stuff is made of paper, and think about just finding this one totally white object. There's an in-game camera that you can use. It's not any of the Vita cameras or anything like that. It's actually a camera that they give you in-game, and you can take pictures with it. So whenever you find one of these white objects, you grab a snapshot of it, And once you grab that snapshot, what's going to happen is the object is going to gain color. And as the object gains color, you also unlock something in the game, which is basically the schematics to actually craft that particular object in real life. And as you do this, the game automatically syncs up with a website which I believe is called Tearaway.me or something, and it syncs up with that website, and you can then access whatever you've unlocked by connecting the Tearaway.me website with your PlayStation Network account, and then you have access to all the stuff that you took snapshots of, and you'll be able to download and print schematics of those things as well as instructions on how to assemble them in real life. And you can craft the in-game characters in real life. Now, this is obviously not going to sound like a very attractive proposal to a lot of you. I mean, depending on your age ranges and whatever. But the thing is, there are people out there that are extremely creative, and there are people that are going to get a good kick out of this. At least I feel like it's definitely not for me. It's not something that I plan on doing, like going to the Tearaway.me website and start like creating paper craft models and whatnot, because it's kind of not my thing. But I realize that there's probably a lot of people out there that will have fun with this, and especially in the younger ages. There's going to be a lot of kids that are going to be like playing Tearaway, and it's like, oh, you mean I can actually like craft Iota, which is the name of the messenger? That's interesting. That's cool. That's funny. And I find that to be really, really interesting. But as I was saying, there's one of the times where you actually encounter this moose, and he loses its color. And as I'm about to take a snapshot of him, he says, "Oh, I've lost my my coat or whatever, and you need to give me a new texture." And it starts utilizing the Vita's back camera. So you point the camera at a texture that you want to get, and you put that onto the moose. And again, it's just seamlessly integrated. As you go through all these levels, all of this stuff is seamlessly integrated. And I thought it was really interesting. And like I said, something that they do a lot is introduce new mechanics, like the sliding platforms I told you about. Further on, you will also find mechanics like you have to put your finger in the back touchpad, and then you will actually see your finger like kind of pop up in the game world and tear through portions of the levels and whatnot, and you can manipulate objects in those levels, which again is another mechanic. There's another mechanic where you will swipe pieces of paper that have glue on them, which will allow your messenger to kind of walk on them, like suppose like doing wall running, kind of like that, but instead of running through the wall, you're just walking on top of glue sideways. And there's a lot more mechanics like that, which again, it just keeps the game constantly fresh. There's a mechanic where you get to ride a pig, which I believe I've already mentioned in my preview video, which was really cool as well. There is tons and tons of customization. Now, I cannot emphasize this. As you are going through the game, you're going to be picking up these pieces of confetti, which is as they're referred to in the game. You're going to be picking up these pieces of confetti. Now, by the time I had played, I don't know how many hours I played the title. I played quite a few hours, but by the time I had played a couple of hours, I had like over 4,000 confetti, whatever. And then you can use that confetti to unlock these decals, these stickers, whatever you want to call them. And then you can place those stickers, for instance, in your character. Anywhere in your character, in his arms, legs, his chest, his face, anywhere. Which is why if you actually pay close attention to the character that you're watching on screen, you will see that he doesn't his face doesn't really look that much like the original Iota, because I changed him. I gave him these eyes that make him look like he's always up to something, like he's a naughty messenger or something. And I thought that was funny, and you can do tons of stuff like that. There's also some game mechanics which, for instance, there was a point where there was a character that said, "Oh my god, these squirrels, they stole my mustache." And I'm like, okay. And then they're like, okay, so draw him a mustache. So you're supposed to draw and do your own paper crafting mustache, so to speak, and then stick it on the character. But obviously for me that wasn't enough. So what I did was I gave him a fine dwarven beard. And it's fine. The game will accept whatever you do. It's not like it's a big deal. You don't have to be this big artsy genius to actually make it work either, because the game's art style, which, like I said, the art style doesn't particularly appeal to me, but it is a very interesting art style. I think it is a great looking art style and it is a great looking theme. Like I said, it's just not particularly appealing to me personally, but it is very, very well done. Now, the thing about it is that particular art style makes this game work really well, because since the game actually asks you in-game to create all these things like mustaches and change the way my eyes look and change this and add some more features onto that and do this and that and the other, as the game is asking you to do all of these things, you're always going to be like, oh my god, I'm going to craft something and it's going to look like crap. And it never really looks like crap, because that's the thing. The game has this art style which makes it look imperfect. I mean, just look at the way the main character looks in its most basic default aspect. It is a very imperfect looking character. In a way, it is cute because of that. And not just the main character. Like, a lot of the stuff in the world has this tendency to just not look perfect. It looks sketched. It looks improvised. It looks... I don't even know how to explain it. But that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. Because it allows all of the creations that you actually make in-game to not look out of place. Because, I mean, imagine, for instance, you take another game. Like, let's say you take Killzone Mercenaries. You're going to create something like an art asset that you're going to put into Killzone Mercenaries. Try to create something that's going to look good in your PlayStation Vita. You're not going to be able to do it. That's the reason why this art style works so well for that kind of stuff. Because the art style itself is going to blend into the world. Doesn't matter what you create. There's also something that the game uses. I'm not sure to what extent, because I've only used it one time throughout my play sessions, which is it also makes use of the Vita microphone, which I didn't even knew where the Vita microphone was. But it also makes use of the Vita microphone. For instance, there's the section where you actually decorate a pumpkin, and then you actually get to say something, and that is going to be the pumpkin's scream to scare crows away and stuff. And like in my case, my pumpkin just says Khan, which is kind of cool, I thought. And again, you're just giving your own touch to the world. Like, as you navigate this world of papercraft and whatnot, you're going to be leaving your mark pretty much on every level in one form or another. There's also a level where I'm supposed to take a picture of myself, and then that picture stays in that level for whatever reason, like because I'm the person that the message is trying to get to. And there's just tons of that in the game. And at the end of the day, this is, like I said, it is an exercise in creativity. It is a very solid title, in my opinion. Like I said, the thing about the platforming in this title is that it uses all of those touch controls in a very seamless way. It is very well integrated, and when you're actually doing nothing else except playing, which is not the case in my particular footage, like I said, I was struggling to film it and making sure the reflections didn't make it look too bad. But when you're actually just playing the title and just focusing on the game itself, it is extremely fluid. Like, you will do swiping motions and move your character at the same time, no problem whatsoever. Very well integrated. The frame rate is always steady, and something that I haven't mentioned yet is the sound. The soundtrack really brings the game to life. I feel that they're really using cool soundtracks as you are going through the title, as well as just the sound of the title itself. It has this very cutesy sounding characters. I don't think it actually has a lot of speech. It has some speech elements to it when the narrators are talking, but apart from that, it is mostly you reading through text and listening to these characters like and whatever. But the music choices in the title, they really kind of bring the title to life, I felt. And I would say this is pretty much a must-have game if you own a Vita, because it is very, very well done. It is a solid experience. And some of you might be looking at it and be like, oh man, but it's just, it looks like kind of like a kid's game. And it's like, all I can really say to that is, I mean, art style does not dictate age as far as I'm concerned. Sure, it might not be appealing to you. Like I said, I don't find it particularly appealing myself, but it is still extremely solid. And the gameplay is very rich and diverse, and there's new mechanics coming at you from every direction. I think the title is really good. This is just my opinion, though. This video is going to be slightly shorter because, like I said, I mean, this is post-commentary on the PlayStation Vita. So, yeah. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I highly recommend that you get Tearaway. It is a lot of fun. I mean, if it looks like you'll enjoy this particular game from the footage that you're watching in the background, of course. Because, I mean, there's going to be some people that this game is basically not going to appeal at all. That is just a fact of life. Due to its art style. Its art style, it is it's going to be somewhat polarizing. I feel some people are going to love it, some people are not going to like it. I happen to be someone who is, like I said, I'm not particularly into the art style, but I really like the gameplay. The music was also extremely nice and just embedded onto the levels themselves in a very organic way as you go through the level. Sometimes I would even think like, is this dynamic, because of the way that the music was just very well paced out. Obviously, some of the portions in the music are dynamic, but there are some of them that almost feels like they're not dynamic, but they're happening at the exact right pace. So, yeah. Either way, this is Tearaway. Thank you very much for watching. Leave me your comments, feedback, all that kinds of good stuff in the comment section below. And I will see you guys in the next one.